what we also want to talk about is there's a place and space for joy, and there's nothing too big or too small that's worthy and of value. I think many times with social media and just things that we hear and see, sometimes people feel like, and I've felt this way, that maybe what I'm doing is not enough.
Yara and Keri Shahidi, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
How are you enjoying Cannes so far?
It's always wonderful. Yeah, happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Okay, let's jump right in, wasting no time. How did the idea behind Seventh Son Productions start? Like, was there a lack of something you were seeing and decided to create a space for that? Tell me about it.
I would say that not necessarily a lack, but a space available to blossom some ideas. And you actually called me from class. She was in class. Were you in?
I was in Professor Cornel West's class.
Yes.
When we came up with the name. So the production company itself really came from a pretty natural progression of realizing that we were producing work on so many of the projects that we were forward-facing on. There was a lot of in-house development, whether it be brand work or creative from Grownish, etc. And I think you had the idea when ABC approached about a production deal for us to get me through my freshman year of college first.
Yeah, so we waited a year before we launched our production company. But honestly, Seventh Son was blossomed from a space of the opportunities that we were given to really be able to say, like, okay, great. We love the ideas that we are able to generate and push forward, but we also wanted to create space for writers that maybe have taken a non-traditional route, other creatives. Everything that we do stems from a place of curiosity.
Yeah.
And how do you decide what projects you want to take on?
It's pretty instinctual. I think, luckily, we have very similar taste.
And we have a lot of friends in the business that do great work. So I remember, I think it was the first week, that was one of my questions, like, what if we like everything? What if every writer pitched something and we were like, yes, yes, yes. But pretty quickly, like you said, it's instinctual and it's like, this isn't for us, but we have a friend that this would be great for. So that's been wonderful to be able to call some of our friends and say, like, hey, we just heard this pitch, or we want to jump in on something with you, or do you know somebody that this could be good for?
Yeah, but as you said, I think so much of what we've been interested in come from the curiosities and spaces we already occupy.
Yeah.
And so much of it was, how do we take these worlds that we have access to and bring them into the media landscape in a fun and exciting way, whether it be our colleagues in the arts or the different industries. I think we've had such a luck of being tapped into such cool circles that present such interesting stories that it's really stemmed from that, and working with wonderful people. I think that's been the continuity, is working with nice, similarly curious individuals.
Absolutely, well said. And how is your company evolving? Now 4 years into collaborating together, what projects are you excited about making now?
Well, like Yara said, we're in so many spaces. Art is something that has our heart. So I think last year I said, meet me in Madrid. So we can go to the Prado, so we can stare at the Garden of Earthly Delights and other things. So, so many of our peers and our friends are in the worlds of fine art or other types of art. And so one project that we are executive producing centers around Faith Ringgold, an artist who we just recently lost, unfortunately, but a really, really interesting documentary about a piece of her work that was in a women's prison that happened to be covered up. And it's really the journey of uncovering it and the impact her art had on so many people, specifically the women. And some of the women have then gone on to become creatives themselves. So, that's one project that we're really excited about.
So much of it comes from us in the last 4 years leaning into what we enjoy. I think oftentimes there's this feeling of like, okay, what are we providing that's new and different versus what are we so familiar with that we can provide a new take into, a new way into, and it can be familiar and it can be a world that we've seen before. And I think we've continued to be able to lean into that instinct, and so many of those projects have really stemmed from us looking within at what we're naturally, the spaces we're naturally playing in.
And even the spaces that we may not be familiar with, but we're interested in. We have a great team, and we are all super, super curious. Is that like bordering on nosy?
Curiosity and nosiness is a fine line.
I think they're cousins. I think they're cousins. But from a positive connotation, we will tackle just about anything if it's of interest. And like you're saying, Yara, I think it's really important for creatives to lean into, I know it can be a little unnerving because you never know, are your colleagues doing something similar? But it's easier to go with something that you're interested in versus trying to fulfill a perceived need that a studio or a market has.
Yeah, that we've realized is the need will always change by the time you have the product in hand.
Yeah.
So follow what drives you.
Yeah.
Very true. I think we're all excited to see the projects coming out. So how has your mother-daughter relationship grown since working together?
We're so similar.
Yeah.
In very different ways.
So, I'm an Aquarius, you're a Leo, which already they are the signs that go hand in hand already. So this was kind of built to be a partnership.
And I think there's nothing hierarchical about our relationship. The student is the teacher is the student.
Yeah.
Which I think has really blossomed over the years. I've been the first, middle, and last person to be like, I don't know what to do in whatever situation. Lucky enough, when Yara was away at Harvard, she would finish class and I'd call and be like, what'd you guys do in class? And I would literally sit with my notebook. It was like being in class. So I definitely, as her mother, I see myself as a student, which is really helpful. In a lot of our projects, we really try to make foundational an intergenerational component.
Yeah. I definitely have to say that is one thing that runs throughout what we've been interested in, is knowing how much our relationship has been pivotal, not only to our success, but just to our growing into the world, and also the relationships that you've intentionally helped me and my brothers foster with our grandparents, or just in always being open to being an intergenerational dialogue has proven to be really groundbreaking in every space that we've occupied. And so that's definitely been centered in what we focus on and what we bring to light. But then also, like you're saying, just the mother-daughter of it all, I think, to me, we get to really enjoy our work because we're approaching it as whole humans. We're not just business partners and colleagues that only care about the output of our production company, but we get to have these really full conversations about how business falls into life, falls into our personal growth and projects, falls into our familial growth and projects. And I think that's something that's so beautiful, because our life doesn't feel, with as much as we have going on, it never feels fragmented, because we're able to come to each other with those conversations.
Yeah, that's true. And then we have projects that we do separately.
Yeah, but I think it's the fact that we can come together and, in one conversation, she's helping me maneuver, okay, what am I doing on, what do I think the next phase of my acting career is, but also, I'm 24, what does being 24 look like for me this month? And I don't know if anyone can have that conversation with just anybody in their life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think what's really exciting about it is, I think sometimes when people look at us, they think like, oh, that's cute. That's mom and daughter. But, there's so much that we're trying to accomplish. And we are really trying to be of service.
Yeah. That's the other thing that you really can't take for granted, is just when you have a partnership that's so aligned in values, where we don't have to question why we're doing the work or what keeps us doing the work. It makes, I think, so many decisions very straightforward.
Definitely.
And it makes so many challenges worth facing.
Definitely.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, we got to talk about your new podcast, The Optimist Project with SiriusXM. How might this open creative doors for you? Like, what's the show about? What are you hoping to achieve?
Again, foundationally, it's about being curious. It's about really giving access to all of the spaces and places that we have access to. There's so many conversations we have in incredible rooms that we walk away thinking like, gosh, we wish everybody could have access to this. So that was really kind of where it started from.
Yeah.
That, and we're in relationship with, whether it's 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, with just cool humans. And we do not shy away from trying to meet somebody.
Yeah.
You've snuck into places.
Yeah. To meet people that I admire, nothing's off limits. But that sounds a little creepy. But I mean, honestly,
snuck into public spaces.
Yes. Very public spaces.
Yes.
But it's true, because I think it really does come from a space of wanting to give access to the conversations that have really shaped who we are. And the title itself speaks to selfishly what we've been looking for, which is constantly searching for joy. I think, so many times people may know us for being forward-facing on these more difficult conversations about what's happening in the world, about diversity, about these topics that we've been in conversation about. But so much of what we don't see publicly is the soft side of when you see people talking through these very heavy, heady conversations. What keeps them going? What keeps them motivated? And oftentimes it's pretty simple. It's music, it's community, it can be very surprising. And so the combination of the idea of access to really inspirational conversations, as well as access to a dialogue about how we all find joy in our lives, big and small, is what got us so excited about the Optimist Project. And I think the idea only continues to blossom as we think of people and things to discuss.
And I think people will be surprised to find out that maybe some people that they feel like, oh wow, they always have these really difficult conversations, and find out that they're gardeners. Or, maybe they volunteer at an animal shelter. But I think what we also want to talk about is there's a place and space for joy, and there's nothing too big or too small that's worthy and of value. I think many times with social media and just things that we hear and see, sometimes people feel like, and I've felt this way, that maybe what I'm doing is not enough. But I think we all have things to give back. And I think we all need ideas of how to remain, centered in joy and in purpose.
Very well said. Keri, as a mother, what has been the most rewarding part of watching Yara grow and succeed in her career?
She tackles challenges I would never, never. I just remember there was a period of time when I was taking you to auditions, and I don't know what it was. They would open the door and be like, "You're an actor too. Will you come in and read?" It got to the point where I started wearing like a baseball hat and just all dark sweats. And I thought, that's nothing I want to do. They want to do that. So I think I'm always inspired by Yara and her brother, is that they're entrepreneurial. They will go head first and tackle something, project, things that I never thought that I could or would, and some things that I still feel like, no, I don't have the guts to do. So that's what's really cool. And I think knowing that when she started in the ish universe, Blackish, Grownish, the first, middle, and last thing she said is, "I'll be going to school." And to watch an entire studio rally behind her to make sure that she was able to go do what she wanted to do unencumbered, and at the same time she had a hit show. But to see the entire studio system really excited for her, and celebrate all of those things while, she's lead on a show. So that was really exciting to watch. It's always exciting, and who knows what's next.
Who knows?
And Yara, what about for you? What's inspiring about your mom?
Oh, there's so much. But I think one thing that I constantly admire is how present you are, because I think it dictates how you're of service to people. When I watch, I think she has a superpower in which she'll hear you talk about what you want to do, ask a couple questions, realize there's somebody that you should know, connect you with that person, or just kind of back pocket. Oh, so-and-so is really inspired and curious by this. And will, whether it's a month later, a year later, be like, oh, these people need to meet. Oh, this is perfect for that person. And I think whether it's somebody that's run into you in an airport or somebody that's known you for years, there have been so many life-changing moments that have blossomed from her just being so curious and so present and so tapped into what the person across from her is saying. And it's really a special really a special gift. I think I was telling you, I was
curious
in a room.
or nosy.
Either way, whether it's curious or nosy, it's working. I was in a room recently, and I think I walked away where I was like, yeah, I walk in not really knowing what we're discussing, and 5 people in there were just talking about, oh, moments Keri Shahidi has changed my life.
Crazy.
Connected me with this lawyer, connected me with this person. I needed a hug, gave me a, whatever it is, but I think that's a special skill.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You both speak so beautifully about each other. I love it. Okay, lastly, we're obviously at Cannes Lion, Festival of Creativity. Is there anything you're looking forward to during your time here?
Ooh, well, I think, one, luckily we have a lot of community members that we're excited and grateful to see. But speaking for myself, starting in commercials with you, advertising has always played a very special role, I think, in the entirety of our careers and lives, whether it be forward-facing in commercials or the fact that we've run and done line production on brand work.
Yep.
And so, in many ways, we've always wanted to work in tandem and find authentic ways to integrate brand partners, advertisers, and so it's just an exciting space to hear how people are doing that, what the next iteration is.
Definitely.
As, you know, being in the television landscape, we've seen many an iteration of how we work alongside each other and how creativity and the advertisement that moves it and in many ways pays for it.
I think there have been a couple of brands that we've worked with over the years that we brought into the Ish universe just because we love the client and we love the product. And I think, like you're saying, it holds a special place in our heart, advertising and such. And I think, you know, knowing that we have the ability to continue to learn how things are being innovated, that's always exciting for us. And I think sometimes people don't realize that when you're forward-facing talent in endorsement space or advertising work, you're still asking about the numbers. You're still trying to understand how those connections are being made. So it's definitely empirical research for us as well. But we're just excited to be inspired and be here with a lot of other creative people.
Yeah.